Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I am going to discuss definitions of various terms related to jaw relation. As we already know, jaw relation, according to GPT-9, it is defined as any special relationship of maxilla to mandible or any one of the infinite relationships of mandible to the maxilla. Jaw relation is otherwise known as maxillomandibular relationship. Then jaw relation record or the maxillomandibular relationship record is the registration of any positional relationship of the mandible related to the maxilla. And these records may be made at any vertical, horizontal or lateral orientation. So that is jaw relation and jaw relation record. Okay, the record is that the registration and the jaw relation is that the relationship. Okay, that is jaw relation and jaw relation record. The various types of jaw relation are orientation jaw relation, horizontal jaw relation and vertical jaw relation. The orientation jaw relation is defined as relationship of maxilla to the base of the skull or cranium. Vertical jaw relation or vertical dimension, it is defined as the length of the face as determined by amount of separation of the jaws under specified conditions. And the horizontal jaw relation is defined as anterior-posterior relation of mandible to the maxilla in horizontal plane, according to GPT. Let's discuss what is the difference between record and registration. First of all, they are almost similar, but the definitions are different. Okay, so what is record? First definition is that to register data relating to specific conditions that exist currently or previously. To register permanently by mechanical means such as jaw relationship. Okay. Second definition is that it is an official document or a body of known or recorded facts about someone or something, or otherwise a registration of jaw position. Which are the various types of records? Centric relation record, eccentric intraocclusal record, occluding jaw record, terminal jaw relation record. What is this registration? The making of a record of jaw relationships present or those desired, thus allowing their transfer to an articulator to assist in the fabrication of a dental prosthesis. Or it is defined as the record made of desired maxillomandibular relationship and used to relate cause to an articulator. That is jaw relation record, maxillomandibular relationship record and simply record. Okay. So coming to the various terms related to orientation jaw relation. So important term is face bow. What is face bow? According to Snow in 1802, it is defined as a caliper-like device which is used to record the relationship of maxilla or mandible to the temporomandibular joints. And most popular definition is given by Glossary of Prosthodontic Terms 9th edition. It is frequently asked viva question for practicals. So what is face bow or define face bow? If anybody asks you to define face bow, then you have to tell as in the Glossary of Prosthodontic Terms 9th edition. So face bow, it is defined as an instrument. Okay, here it is defined as an instrument used to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomic reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. So it is an instrument which is used to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomic reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. Okay. And it orients the dental cast in the same relationship to opening axis of the articulator. Okay, so Facebook orients the dental cast in the same relationship to the opening axis of articulator. And customarily, the anatomic references are the mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. So what is it? It is an instrument. We used it to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomy reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. And it orients the dental cast in the same relationship to opening axis of the articulator. Customarily, the anatomic references are mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. So, this definition can be studied under these sections. Okay, first one is here an instrument to this articulator. Okay, then it orients to the opening axis of articulator. Then it customarily anatomic references are mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. Coming to some terms related to the vertical jaw relation. According to GPT-9, the vertical dimension is defined as the distance between two selected anatomic or marked points, usually one on the tip of the nose and other on the chin, one on a fixed and one on a movable member. So it is defined as the distance between two selected points, anatomic or marked points. Which are they? One on a fixed and one on a movable member. So usually one on the tip of the nose and other on the chin. Vertical dimension decrease and increase. What does it mean? What is the definition of vertical dimension decrease? That is decreasing the vertical distance between mandible and the maxilla by various modifications of teeth, the positions of teeth or occlusion rims, or through alveolar or residual ridge resorption, according to GPT-1. What is its definition? Decreasing the vertical distance between the maxilla and mandible by modifications of teeth, positions of teeth or occlusion rims, or through alveolar or residual ridge resorption. Vertical dimension increase means increasing the vertical distance between the maxilla and mandible by modifications of teeth, positions of teeth or occlusal rims. So the difference is in decreasing and increasing. Okay. Then the vertical dimension of occlusion is that the distance between two selected anatomical marked points, usually one on the tip of the nose and other on the chin when in maximal intercuspal position. So that is important in the vertical dimension of occlusion. So here the distance between these 2 points when in the maximal intercuspal position. The vertical dimension of rest is that the physiologic rest position or rest vertical dimension. Okay. Then the vertical dimension of speech is that the distance measured between two selected points when the occluding members are in their closest proximity during speech. That is the vertical dimension of speech. Coming to the rest jaw relation, otherwise known as physiologic rest position or vertical dimension of rest. It is defined as the postural jaw relation when the patient is resting comfortably in an upright position and condyles are in neutral, unstrained position in the glenoid fossa, according to GPT-4. So it is defined as the postural jaw relation when the patient is resting comfortably in an upright position and condyles in a neutral, unstrained position in the glenoid fossa. And finally, the terms related to horizontal jaw relation. First one is the centric occlusion. What is it? The occlusion of opposing teeth when the mandible is in centric relation. This may or may not coincide with the maximal intercuspal position. What is centric position? The position of the mandible when the jaws are in centric relation. Next term related to the horizontal jaw relation is centric relation. Centric relation is very important viva question for BDS as well as MDS students. According to GPT-9, it is defined as a maxillomandibular relationship. It is independent of tooth contact in which the condyles articulate in the anterior superior position against the posterior slopes of articular eminences. And in this position, the mandible is restricted to purely rotary movement. From this unstrained physiologic maxillomandibular relationship, the patient can make vertical, lateral or protrusive movements. It is a clinically useful, repeatable reference position. So, we have to study this definition into various parts. That means, centric relation is a maxillomandibular relationship. It is independent of tooth contact. Okay, central relation is independent of tooth contact. Here the condyles articulate in the anterior superior position against posterior slopes of articular eminences. So that is centric relation. Okay, and in this position, the mandible is restricted to purely rotary movement. Okay, from this unstrained physiologic maxillomandibular relationship, the patient can make vertical, lateral or protrusive movements. And it is a clinically useful, repeatable reference position. Okay. Centric relation record is defined as a registration of the relationship of maxilla to the mandible when the mandible is in centric relation. The registration may be obtained either intraorally or extraorally. That's all for today's lecture. Thanks for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe my channel for more videos.